Hello and welcome back to Chill Under Pressure. I'm Les.
I'm Adam. I'm John.
I'm Ty.
Thanks for coming on. Looking forward to chatting with you.
I look forward to it. I love HVAC, so I'm always looking forward to talking about this trade and how we can lift people up.
Awesome. So you love the trade. I mean, it's in all your love to HVAC. I think is your email or your YouTube, right?
Yes, sir. They're both
Or both.
all of my social media because I I love this stuff. It's when life's taken everything away from me, I had skills that I could start over with, and I had this. Nobody could take the skills away, and I could start over, and that's taken me around the world. And it's when I had all these other problems in life. I could go to work, I could make money, I could and I could solve the other stuff, later. So the trades have just I couldn't imagine my life without these skills, without the trades.
That's great. How'd you get started? Like, what was
Well,
your venture in?
my dad is a sheet metal guy, and so I was working in the sheet metal shop, insulating ductwork, building drain pans, mainly insulation. I love my dad, but I hated working with my dad, and I wanted to do like anything else. And so I was like, and I started looking at all these other careers, and I was like, man, maybe I want to be a diesel mechanic. And I talked to diesel mechanics; they were like, oh, they hated their job, and I talked to so many people and they were like, oh, I don't like my job. And I was like, I want to be a heavy equipment operator, which I still love heavy equipment. And these people are like, oh, I don't like my job. I'm in this cab all day. And I'm like, oh man. And so then I talked to an HVAC guy and they're like, man, I love what I do. And I'm like, what? And they're talking about going to different houses and seeing different people. And I'm like, heck yeah, I'm in. And so I got out of sheet metal and I got into installation. And the first company, it was bad. They were so mean and hateful. But I learned a lot.
Beautiful.
They were mean and
They
hateful. Wow.
they would throw tools and yell and say horrible things. But this guy would drive up in this van, and everybody, it was new construction. Everybody would go out and start talking to this guy. And they would come back in, and this would happen sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. Sometimes it would, they wouldn't see him for a few days. But I'm like, is that one of the owners? Like, oh no, that's just a service guy. How do I get that job? That's what I want to do. Oh, you're gonna have to learn and read stuff. Sold. So ever since then, I've been learning and reading stuff.
Are
I
people
can do
gonna
stuff. I can read and stuff
Are people gonna throw things at me and say mean things?
sometimes.
And I was in my own van. I didn't have to worry about people throwing things and yelling at me. And it was, well, sometimes the customers would yell, but it was you solve the problem and they're happy. It was amazing. And ever since then, I've loved the trade.
So I love that you started, you know, with your dad. That's kind of my backstory. I started with my uncle, and I was when I was an early teenager, just doing silly stuff. How old were you when you were first knocking tin? And then second, do you have all your fingers?
I do.
Oh,
It was in
yeah.
1995 was when I officially got paid. So that's when I count me as actually being fully in the trade. And that because as when I was little bitty, I had a sheet metal hammer and banging stuff on. So I don't think those really count. But 95, I started getting an actual paycheck. I wasn't full time. I was still in school, but I was actually getting paid to do work. And the expectations were already high, but they went up because my dad's paying me, this very high, less than a minimum wage rate. But that's when I consider myself officially in the
Very
trade.
high, less than minimum wage. Yeah, that was me too.
Yeah, the other part of the paycheck was the bed, the roof,
Yeah.
all the
Hot
hot
shower.
yeah, right. Hot
Didn't work
water.
hard enough today. We're turning off the hot.
Hey man, if I could go back in time, that was so great. You could come and go most of the time as you wanted. You had a few little chores to do. You didn't have any bills to pay. Oh, but at the time, it was like the worst thing. I can't believe I have to do all this stuff. And I look back and go, man, that was really, really good.
When times were good. Right. The good times.
That's right. So you start out, you got your service tech position, right?
Yeah.
And then where do you go from there?
Man, from there, I just kept learning and kept moving up. I ended up being a service manager. And then I got into refrigeration and I love that. I tried so many things, boilers, and I tried one day in boilers. I wanted to be a boiler maker and I spent one day doing that covered in soot. I'm like, nope, nope, nope. And then I spent a winter doing cooling tower maintenance and being covered in soot and water and punching tubes. I'm like, nope, not as cool as I thought it would be. And so I eventually got into, I just decided, hey, I want to run my own company. And so at a very early age, I got my contractor's license and I had a boss that was like, hey, I am all for you working for yourself. I'm going to support you in that, but let me teach you how to run a business and how to, have profit and loss. And he actually sat down and taught me business side, which was the only reason I was successful, because I would have failed, and it was still hard enough as it was. And then I had a really, really horrible divorce, and I lost everything just because I refused to fight. And so I had to start over, and I had built and accomplished all my goals. And I'm like, okay, what to do now? And so I ended up moving to Miami in the middle of the housing crunch. The economy was dead. I moved right there, and there was entire vacant neighborhoods. I applied for a job and got the job the same day as I left, and I learned a whole new different area. And I thought, man, that was really cool. I can start over anywhere. And then from there, I got into teaching. And this lady I was dating. She was like, all you do is talk about air conditioning. Why don't you go teach this stuff? I'm like, oh, I couldn't do that. I didn't go to school for this. And she forced me. She's like, no, look, I'm tired of listening to you talk about this stuff. Like, go to people that actually want to listen to this. And I got a job teaching, and then I loved it. Even a whole new level of unlocking, because I had to understand things on a bigger, deeper level to be able to explain stuff. So I learned so much more teaching than I ever did doing it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this wrong this whole time. I had no clue. And then I went to Australia, lived there for a year, and traveled the world for another year, and then came back, started teaching and working, and I've been doing it all over the country.
And then from there, that's pre Grit Foundation, right?
Yes, the Grit
That
Foundation was
that
just
teaching
this
you were
last
doing.
year. Yeah, I've taught Miami, Texas, Arizona, and Nevada. So I've taught in multiple places, worked also in the field. I try to also work in the field constantly, even when I'm teaching, because I want to never lose connection. Because I see a lot of instructors that I respect, but there ends up being that disconnect between what you do and what you're asking people to do. So every year I'm in an attic, I'm under a house, I'm doing stuff to make sure that, and I like it, right? I mean, it's not like I'm forcing myself to go do this. I enjoy the work, but I also want to make sure I never get disconnected. So I still run service calls, do installs, all that stuff.
So do you still have your own contracting company, or are
So
you going out with?
I'm a silent partner. I work with other people as I'm doing training and ride around with other companies, and I'm still a silent partner in a company, and I still I still have my contractor's license, and I still go out and help out, especially when things get really busy, and also when they have a customer that, man, that they don't have the money to pay, they need a help, and he's like, "Look, I can't afford to do all this work for free, or something you're interested in." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And my thing is, I don't charge. If I'm recording what I do, I don't charge people for it. So it's a good opportunity to me to actually make videos showing what I'm doing, and that way I'm not charging the customer. So it's like, hey, you're not getting this for free. It's like a trade, so to speak. So I'm really big on people appreciating the value of our skills. But at the same time, when somebody's paying me, I don't want to record it. I have no problem with other people that do that. It's just my personal thing that I do. So yeah, that's how I validate it.
It's it's very creative because you and how to help someone get what they need, right? And you get something that you want.
And you're creating content that you need.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fantastic.
very creative. So, well, who were you teaching for? Like, who'd you start teaching for? If that was
The very
like,
first school I started teaching for was this now defunct called ATI. It was in I guess it was a nationwide. It was like the first one to realize they were ripping people off with student loans, which is unfortunately still happening today. And I saw that when I was there, and I was like, man, that was really disheartening, because you're doing something you love, teaching people, helping people, and then you see like how the student loan process worked and how they just wanted to saddle people with debt. And it was just really big struggle, and I still see that still happening, unfortunately, today. But I just have to pick and choose my battles. But gosh, I've taught for so many schools, I can't even think of all the names of the schools I taught for.
so you're like on the board of Grit, is that correct?
I'm a head of training, so I don't make any other
Head of training.
decisions and stuff. I just worry about training,
Okay.
going out, making sure the mentors are trained to be able to work with kids. Because in the trades, I want to make sure we're not yelling and throwing tools at kids. So I work with them about how to use a Socratic
And learn
method.
your lesson.
Yes,
They were mean and hateful.
and how
That
to
tag guy was mean and hateful. He threw a wrench at me, Mom.
you can dodge
First
a
thing,
wrench, you
everyone
can
needs to
dodge
put
a
on
ball.
Goggles and a hard hat.
So I, what for those who don't know, what is the Grit Foundation? Like, what is it? What's the heart of it?
So it's growth and resilience in the trades, and there's a huge vision that Brian Orr has. But essentially, we're starting out with, hey, let's get the next generation excited about the skilled trades and what we do. And it's multi-part. For one, it's introducing the trades to younger people, because we know it's been taken out of schools. We've lost a lot of respect. So it's just getting people interested in it. It's a one-day hands-on camp for them to put their hands on it. And it's exciting. It's giving them the idea, not saying everybody has to do this, but it's giving them the opportunity to know this exists, to think, hey, I could do this. And it's not just building a birdhouse. They're going through these skills with an actual skilled person that does this in the trade at a contractor's company who does this for a living. So they get to see these are real jobs. So that's part one. Part two is showing community and society that these skills are valuable. It's harder than it looks. One time we had a parent show up, like, here, let me show you how to do that. And the parent struggled, like, oh, this is harder than it looks. Yes, it is. And number three, the skilled tradespeople, we take our skills for granted. Reading a tape measure, using a screwdriver, a drill. We've done these for so long, we forgot that these are skills we had to learn. So we want to show our skilled tradespeople, you have value. Your skilled trade, your knowledge you have is valuable. We want you to share that and show others this value. And it's not something that's easy. It's something that's become easy because we've done it for so long.
Yeah, you're so right. We do take it for granted. I was off trade. I was helping a buddy of mine who's got an off-grid property, and he was replacing a battery bank. And his kid, and his someday likely step or son-in-law, that's how that goes, trying to do the little thing there. They were trying to take apart the old battery case, right? So this was big AGM batteries. Anyway, they were just trying to take screws out and disassemble this wooden structure. No big deal. And I'm over here like programming the thing and doing voltages and talking to my buddy and like setting up the new batteries, and they're disassembling the old one. And then I hear the where you can hear the screw stripping, and you're like right away your like shoulders tense. You're like, wait, what's going on? So I look over, and he's because of his angle, it looks like it's straight onto him. And I'm like at a different angle. So I just reach over and I just tip it down into the side.
Yep.
And then I let go, and he does it, and it comes right out, and he's like, oh, thanks. Like the littlest thing that you take for granted on just like alignment of a drill bit to a screw, or a Phillips bit to a screw head or whatever. It's so silly. And then you get into more complicated things with like HVAC specific and, or automotive, any of these skills.
Mm-hmm.
We take them for granted. It's like, oh, you just take that thing off. I don't even,
Right.
the huda wada?
Right.
Like, what is the thing you just told me? I don't even know what that is.
And
So
it's multi. There's one thing on the understanding of it, and then there's another part of the actual hands-on application,
Right.
of being able to actually do it and having it come out right.
I got a guy that does countertops, and he's always taking things for granted.
Where's our sound effect?
There you go. Humor with Ty.
Well, Ty,
Guy's like, man, you guys are bad. Could have at least been horrible. Giving me a courtesy laugh.
he's the one bringing granite jokes in here. I don't know. I think being
That really fell flat.
Hope it wasn't too heavy.
just keep it going.
The dad jokes roll.
Let's get started. I think with your training and everything that you do with Britt and all that, do you have I don't think it's needless to say that people are going and spending a lot of money out in colleges, traditional colleges, getting their bachelor's and all these things to try to make it into kind of the white collar industries. We seem to have a more interest in the blue collar trades because they're kind of following where the money is going. Do you have your fingers on the pulse of the labor market going forward, being in the position that you are training?
I try to see what's happening in so many different things. I try to keep up with there's so much going on, but I try to keep up with what's happening with colleges, what's happening with Generation Z and now Generation Alpha, which blows my mind trying to get into that, but I'm working on it really difficultly. New word, difficultly. And so I'm trying to keep my pulse on what's happening. And so for me personally, we have respect for doctors and lawyers, and I have respect for them. Well, maybe not all the lawyers, but I have respect for the professions. And I want people to also just have that same level of respect for tradespeople. And tradespeople themselves have respect for themselves. So there seems to be this battle of like, it's the white collar versus blue collar. And I'm completely against that. I'm like, hey, look, I have respect for the white collar, but also we need to have respect for the blue collar, for the people that's making all of the white collar jobs possible. And I want to make sure that if somebody's coming out and and designing building a house or fixing drains or the HVAC, which is super complicated, right? That we have that level of appreciation. It's not just I'm looking for labor. No, I'm looking for a skilled tradesperson to come solve these problems for a long term. And that's what I want. And so it's easy to get into the one versus the other, but I'm like, hey, I want to give people options. Do what you want to do. Do the trade. You don't like it, then go get the other. Or I've had people that did the other jobs and came into the blue trades. One of the people that trained me, Mike Groves, he was difficult to work for, but he was fair, and he used to be an accountant, certified or CPA, whatever you call him. And I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you installing? He goes, look, Ty, hard work's never killed anybody, but stress kills people every day. And he goes, I get to, when I do something, when I install this unit, I want to do it the best of my ability. To me, it's artwork. It's also my gym. I'm lifting equipment. I'm staying healthy. And what I do is going to leave my mark for the next 15 years, maybe 20 years. And so I can do that. Then I leave that and I go home, and work stays at work, home stays at home. And when I did CPA, it was always bringing stress home. My brain is hurting all the time. I was always stressed out. And that changed at an early age for me. It changed so much of my perspective, because I was like, oh, no, you got to have this job. And then I realized, no, I can be a professional at what I do here. It was huge for me. And I want to make sure I share that with other people.
I know Les holds this philosophy, and John as well. When I talk to my kids about the trade, like, yeah, I want you to get an education. I want you to learn, but it doesn't mean the only place to get that education is in the traditional path. There, you can find your story is riddled with it. You started with your dad, then later on you described a business owner who said, yeah, I'm all about you going out, but let me show you how business actually works. That mentor mentee relationship is so important, and for learning style differential, right? Some people are very tactile, hands-on learners. You're not. I was not designed to sit in a classroom.
Right.
I'm terrible at it. I want to get my hands dirty. I want to be out there. I got to see it. Show me. Get it on the screen. Get it in my hands. I can't. I can visualize electrical and plumbing in my mind, but when you're talking about some of those other things, I need to see it.
Right.
I can't. So I touch it. Yeah. So I tell my kids that too. Hey, there's honor in the trade. I think for a long time we've taught kids, don't go into the trades. Go get a college degree and get a real job. Like, this is a real job.
Yeah.
The world does not
In fact,
run.
those other real jobs don't exist without it.
That's right. The world does not run without plumbers, electricians, HVAC technicians. And you know what? Yeah, I love that. I don't remember the gentleman's name you mentioned, but the philosophy of, this is my gym. This is my my stress relief. This is my artwork, right? And man, that is a holistic life approach, not a paycheck approach. And it's so much better.
Yeah. It's really amazing to see how many people that make the trades possible. It's just amazing, the people I've get to meet across the country with the Grit Foundation, and small towns and big cities. And it's really getting to change my viewpoints on getting to see somebody working in the middle of New York. Cause I always thought, it's like, oh, New York, why would anybody? And then getting to actually spend time with people in the city working. And then in the same month, somebody in Idaho in the middle of nowhere, you're like, where do you get your groceries from? Like, there's nothing anywhere. And seeing how the HVAC has made a career for both of these people, entirely different parts of the country. It's really powerful. I love it. And it just gives you more energy to want to share this to more people. And I just couldn't imagine where I would be without having the trades and not having these skills. I would be a mess. One of the things that I do is I need to see stuff. I need to touch stuff. And in the classroom, that's what I would do. I would get people up. Let's get them moving. Let's go to the lab. I literally taught one class. The class was asleep. We went around the building walking with our notes as I was teaching around it. I've been written up before because I wouldn't use PowerPoints. And I'm like, look, I know how I learn. So if we want to be a good tradespeople, we need to teach the people like me that can't just sit here and read a book and understand what they read. Like, let's bring that book to life. The information, what's important. Let's teach them how to find that information in the book to solve problems. That's not teaching to read a book. And so that's how I taught. It was like, let's bring this stuff to life. Let's involve the students in their education. And I still believe in it.
Kind of that learning how to learn kind of thing, but it has to be to your style, right? Like Adam was saying, he doesn't do well in this environment. Some people might do well in a book environment and in a PowerPoint environment. It's kind of neat, but we kind of see this whole movement over the last 15 years, 10, 15 years. Of, you have micro and dirty jobs, and you have all these labor. I feel like it's coming a full circle, because my parents, my grandparents were like all the trades, and they, we saw this whole thing. It's kind of neat to see this come full circle.
Yeah, I think too, when you're doing the Grit Foundation, you might have people that maybe don't go into trades, right? But they're walking out also with that appreciation for it. Because, like, wow, that was hard. I thought it's not for me, but as I get older, I'm going to remember that. And
I'm going to respect my plumber. I'm going to respect my HVAC tech. That's hard work. Yeah, and it's hard. It's complicated work. It's not just.
And that's what we want.
Yeah.
And it's local community. So it's a contractor that says, hey, I want to make a difference in my community. So they host a camp in their local community. So it's not just, the Grit Foundation trying to change all this. It's like, hey, we're going to empower contractors. We're going to empower local tradespeople to make a difference in their community. And it's an investment of the future, because none of those kids may ever come and work for that company. But they're saying, hey, I want to make a difference and show the importance of skilled trades. And so maybe they'll become a tradesperson, a carpenter, electrician, plumber, HVAC tech, or maybe they'll go on to another career, but they have that moment in their time and they have an appreciation for these skilled trades.
Yeah, so cool. That's a really neat model. I like that. And so, I mean, for anybody who's out there listening, I don't know, Ty, tell us, like, is there a way for them to reach out to Grit and say, hey, I want to do that in my neighborhood? What's the process for that?
So on the website, it talks all about Grit, and then you have to go to like the Grit camp and you have to find it. And we kind of did that on purpose because we want people to be like, just on the fly, they wanted to do this and then it fades. Like, hey, we want to see that they have some grit involved in And then there's a process. We have a guide for the go through. They have to still make sure they're interested. Then we'll set up a meeting, and then they're still interested. Then I'll come into the meeting, and then we'll start talking about, hey, here's what we got to do to make this happen. After 3 meetings and you still want to do this, let's do this. And then we go through. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of organization. We got to train also the mentors how to work with younger people, which is also a key, because if you learn how to work with younger people, it also makes you more talented or more skilled to also train other apprentices, so other generations. So that's it's another win there. Teaching how to work with kids is easy because you wouldn't cuss at a kid, and then you realize, hey, I could use some of the Socratic method to teach my apprentices that are older. That's a different generation, different learning styles. And then once we get to the Grit camp, I try to get to as many as I can. And it's, oh my God, it's the best. I can't believe I get paid to show up and help people learn and help people do this. It's amazing. I literally I get goosebumps every time I talk about it, because you're going to a contractor and you're seeing tradespeople so excited about the future, and you get kids excited about doing this stuff. One of the camps, and I ramble, I'm sorry, but one of the camps, I thought this one kid was like quiet. I was like, man, well, you know what? I can't get to everybody. And the kid just didn't respond. And, it's kind of like, oh man, I wish I could have got to that kid. And the next day I'm at services that Sunday morning, and the parent comes over and says, I don't know what you did. I'm like, oh my gosh, here it comes. But my son will not stop talking about everything he did. He doesn't talk to us about anything at school, anything that he's interested in. And he spent over an hour talking about this box that he made with this stuff in it. And he just keeps going on and on about it. And I was like, wow. Okay, so I may not see the results, but I know that it's working, and it was huge.
Yeah, and he saw you at a service the next day and went, that guy's got a good soul. Yeah, that guy's got some character. So nice. I love that too.
Yeah, and it's a reminder that just because it doesn't look like someone's paying attention doesn't mean they aren't.
That's right.
Just because they may not be outgoing doesn't mean they aren't taking in everything and moving with it.
Yeah, that's my one of my daughters like that. She doesn't respond. You're like, I don't even think you're hearing me. Are we even?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Yeah. Okay. And she's introverted and quiet, and she's brilliant. She's straight A student, and she's in third year college now. She's in informatics, so super nerdy math stuff. But anyway, and then later on, when she does get going on a topic, you're like, you literally, like, did you record it in your brain? Like, you're regurgitating like word for word stuff. Wild. So I'm all about that. Don't underestimate the quiet one in the corner. They might be the most attentive of all of them. Of course, they also could be the one who's like, I don't want to be here and whatever. But you just don't judge until you know.
Yeah, it's a good affirmation that why I'm investing even in the individual in the back who doesn't seem to be paying attention.
And our camps are really small too. We have a maximum of 15 people, and we have one mentor to a maximum of 2 students. So it's making sure that they have a mentor to look up to, and it's not just you're going through this process, that you have somebody you can connect with, and the mentors have a feeling of connecting with one or two people. So it's very emotional, so to speak. It's really connected.
Well, we can definitely hear that in your voice. Whenever you describe how this makes you, how this impacts you directly, in the lives of others that surround you, and bringing this to town for the contractors. Can you give us some tips for the contractors listening, or for maybe other educators, how to talk to the different generations, how to connect with them? Can you give us a few pointers there? Millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, all that good stuff. Yeah.
So
With
for
me,
all
Millennials are all old now. They don't count anymore.
They don't count anymore.
They used
Yeah.
to be those millennials.
With me, you just throw things at me and say mean things, and I
Right.
respond.
Nobody likes you, bud.
I still hear so many people saying, "Well, these millennials." I'm like, man, they have their own companies now. They're homeowners. They have grandkids even. It's like that's not a new thing anymore. I actually have a book. It's for a 50 or 40 something model Hudson, and I go through. It's like, hey, remember the good old days? And I talk about having to oil the water pump and every 1,000 miles. Like sometimes we remember the good old days differently, a little romanticized than what's actually happening. But when people say nobody wants to work anymore, I have quotes going all the way back to the 1800s saying these exact same things. So I like to loosen people up with that. And then I talk, hey, regardless of what generation people are, people want to know that somebody cares, and they also want to be involved in your education. So we are really big on the Socratic method, teaching with curiosity, teaching with questions, leading people where you want them to go instead of just telling them to lead them, to let them be involved, let them make some mistakes. Hey, I want you to do this, and they do it. It's like, okay, it's not the outcome I really wanted, or let me show you some other things that could make that better, or would you be interested in learning any ways to make that better? What do you think would happen if X, Y, and Z? Or if this was your house, what would you expect? And so now you're building with curiosity. You're letting them make mistakes in a controlled environment, and you're letting them learn from it. And now they're asking you questions, and they feel okay to make a mistake because we learn from our mistakes. And that's the biggest thing, regardless of all the generations, is care and involve people, and then also continuously learn yourself.
Interesting. So back last year at the HVACR education conference, right? National HVACR education conference, I was standing out in the hall. You had a class, and I was talking to Jesse Stewart, and he's like, we're talking, and he's like, all right, yeah, how I got to jump into this class. I'm like, oh, you going to Tides? He goes, I don't miss a class he teaches. Right, and so it's just cool. Like there's this impact and respect among the people I saw there of the people doing the instructing, and I'm not missing what he does. And part of it, he said, it's so interactive.
And
So just applaud. Like,
I don't want
I
people
guess.
to
So
come
well
to my
done.
class for
Yeah,
the
well done.
entertainment. I want people to take this and use that. I get people, hey, can I use? Yes, use everything that I have and make it your own. I don't want to be the guy. I want other people to be the guy. I want other people to be the girl. I want other people to be the one that's interactive and known. I'm known for the guy interactive. I don't want that. I want other people to be interactive. I want everybody to be interactive and make this trade fun, make learning fun. There's been so much physics that I learned about HVAC, and I would have been so against it learning it from the book side. But once you interact with it and you realize, man, we work with chemistry and physics every day. Like this is literally what's the thing, the buzzword everybody uses about learning, or STEM. This is literally STEM. But let's do it in a fun way. Let's make it fun. And when I see physics classes when they're doing this, they spin a wheel and it makes the chair turn. I'm like, that's amazing. And they're involving people. And I'm like, why don't we do that in the trades? I go to all these conferences and everybody has a PowerPoint, and everybody turns the lights down. Everybody turns on their monotone voice. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need this information, but it's painful. I literally have bruises on my legs where I pinch myself trying to stay awake, and I make pages of notes to try to stay focused. And I'm like, this could be so much more fun if we'd involve the people. Maybe you cover less stuff, but let's involve the audience.
So
Well, I think that was to his point of why he was going, is
Yeah.
like that he's taking that information and utilizing it. And
He does a
to
good
your
job.
point. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to reach out because I have to do a session on regulatory stuff, which I like loathe to figure out how to make not entertaining but interesting. Like it so matters, and yet, in fact, your comment a minute ago about I don't want to be the entertainment. If people go and they're even just rubbing up against and witnessing how you're doing it, it changes a little bit at a time. It polishes them a little bit at a time on how they're going to present to the next person, how they're going to interact. And it might not be the next tradesman. It might be their client. It might be their spouse or their own child. And that positive, hey, communicate in a positive way. Let's think about other ways for somebody to receive the information, not just disseminate it. That has a positive impact. So keep doing what you're doing, and I might have to phone a friend and go, help me figure out how to make this more interesting.
No monotone voice.
I always have a monotone voice.
Throw wrenches.
Swear a lot. Swear at people, curse at people.
That's why.
Maybe I should
that's
make some foam soft wrenches I can throw.
that's funny. I should get like foam wrenches.
Because I do throw cubes of air. I have 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot boxes, cubic foot, and I throw that, and I have cube ones that I throw, and I throw balloons. So I do throw stuff, but it's stuff that's generally soft.
Yeah.
Well, going back to what you were saying about, we approach things from like a curiosity standpoint. That kind of goes back to your CPA experience, where that turns to art in a way. It's kind of neat to kind of see, all right, what can I do with this? I have this problem. How can I fix it? And it does turn to an art form.
Ty, we're winding it down here. Any parting shots? Anything, something that you want everybody to know, or a place that they can connect, or something that you want to get out there that we can help promote?
And I want people to continuously learn. I'm still, even on basic stuff that I have figured out, I've learned something about another angle or another aspect that can change things at a high level. So keep learning. If you have the mindset that you already know this stuff, like that's super dangerous. So whatever you do, you got to keep learning, got to keep refreshing, even basics. And now our industry is changing fast. Regulations are changing, refrigerants, technology. There's so much going on. So we have to stay learning. And it's easy to get in, I don't like that new stuff. I've been there. I still have to fight it today. But stay, if you feel that way, then learn everything you can about it. 2 is care for other humans. They may have a complete different religion and growth and color and everything. It's okay. Start to learn from them, listen to them, and instead of trying to change them, just hear where they are. Care about other humans. That's a big one. And then help other people learn, right? Help other people get better. Even if you don't like them, try to help them. And I try. And I know sometimes there's a limit, right? There's a point you're like, okay, this is draining me, but try. And as you help other people learn, and as you help other people, you're gonna find that it's really selfish, because you're going to get paid way more than what you're giving out. It's going to help you learn more. It's going to help you feel better about yourself. It's going to help you grow. So all these things I'm saying to do to help others will pay you back. I promise it does. The more that you put out to help people, there's always going to be that one to take advantage. We can always focus on that negative, but if we focus on the positive side of the help that we put out, it helps you more than anybody else.
Yeah, I love it. 3 points: keep learning, care about other people, and share what you know.
Yep.
I think a big theme of this has been, hey, we need mentors, right?
Yeah.
And now we had mentors growing up, and now we need to become a mentor. So if you're able to, you can implement those 3 things and start mentoring others.
That's right.
Yeah, love it. Well, thanks for joining us, Ty. It was awesome to talk to you. I hope we can connect up at one of the shows coming up. That'd be fantastic. I can buy you a lunch, or John can, if he gets to see you, or Les can, whatever. We'd love to see you soon. So thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. I look forward to hanging out with you guys anytime. This was fun.
Thanks for joining us on Chill Under Pressure. I'm Adam.
I'm John.
I'm Les.
I'm Ty.
We'll see you next time.